All right, good evening. My name is Ryan Cohen. This is ITL608 Week 2 discussion prompt asking us to differentiate among formative and summative assessments and give examples of how each might be used in our own expected teaching situation. I believe this is one of the first discussion prompts that has no supplemental resources or learning materials linked with it. I don't think I missed anything on here. So I did refer back to my notes on formative and summative assessments from my ITL606 course. I think it was week 3, had a discussion prompt about that topic with formative and summative assessments. So to differentiate between the two, formative assessments are administered in the process of learning to assess how that progress is going and to give feedback throughout the learning process for teachers so that they can adjust and individualize and tailor their learning as they go through it. It informs their instruction. It helps them modify how they're teaching as they move through their lesson or their unit. It gives them feedback as to which students might need extra help or to be further challenged with the learning materials, and it helps them evaluate how the learning is progressing. The focus of the formative assessment is much more on understanding where the learning is at versus assigning a grade to it. Some examples I could think of, it says like how it might be used in your own teaching situation. I am currently a substitute teacher. I just switched my credentialing from single subject in music and performing arts to multi-subject. So I don't really know what I'll be teaching, but it's not what I wanted to teach. But recently I was in a long-term 5th grade math and science assignment. And so just to conveniently draw from that, a couple formative examples that I felt worked really well was in math class, having all of the students have, whiteboards to take notes as you're giving instruction, and then having them write their answers on the whiteboard and then hold them up for you, the teacher, to see. I think that gives instant feedback. One, to survey the class on proportions of who's getting information instantly, who is not, who's working through it in a midsection. The students who you have them show their work on it. You can see what type of work they're showing or who is not showing the work. The students who are not getting that gives you an opportunity to look around at them. I like that as an example of instant feedback. Exit tickets or exit quizzes, having them write down things, are also a good example of that. Kahoots is an online format that I really like. That's a game site that you can have your students log into through their Chromebook or iPad. You generate a quiz where you can set the parameters for your social studies questions, your science questions, your math facts. You could do like 2-digit multiplication or 2 by 3-digit division, load in those parameters and have the children all log into a class game code. It gives them multiple choice options. It gives you instant feedback, the number and percentages of the kids that are getting the correct answer, and it also lets you know specifically which ones they're answering wrong. This gives you feedback about how the class is learning as well. Summative assessments, those are end of unit, period, or course assessments. Those are graded. Those should only be used when they're planned for, studied for, or given time to prepare for. Their intention is to demonstrate mastery or comprehension of, or to assess comprehension of the materials that have been presented. Examples of summative assessment styles would be like a portfolio, interviews, a comprehensive essay or presentation, tests, midterms, finals, those are all summative assessments. They help evaluate exact information that was covered. So it also asks us to talk about some issues that could affect the reliability, the validity, or some examples of biases that you've experienced in your assessment situations. Okay, so reliability, obviously if the children are absent or if you're using technology and your technology is not working, that really affects your reliability. Validity, for example, like if the children are shouting out answers, or if you're, trying to take a formative assessment, but then they're like all helping each other answer, that doesn't give you individual feedback. Biases, I think just as a blanket statement, not having differentiated instruction options. Classic example, if children are studying with reading, you may not accurately be able to assess their math facts if they're struggling to read the problems and they're only written down. Or if children aren't comfortable with their pen and paper for a summative assessment and you don't give them like a digital portfolio or presentation option, you might not accurately be able to assess their comprehension of the material by not giving them an alternative way to express that. All right, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much.